the AC Star Alert 29 channel. And since Morbius is coming out soon, I think I'll talk about Morbius, the cartoon version, and in the next video I might talk about the comic origin, and then what I think what's going to happen in Morbius and what's not going to happen in Morbius, and then maybe make another prediction video or another video about the Morbius movie that contains some stuff that they recently came out with, and maybe some spoilers that are already spoiled from the director himself. So here we go. This episode is mainly about the cartoon origin of Morbius from the animated 90's Spider-Man show called Spider-Man. So we come up on this character, Michael Morbius. He's just a regular student at the university that Peter Parker, Felicia, and Mary Jane and Harry go to. And he's a foreign exchange, for understand this, he's a foreign exchange student from a different country. It didn't really say what country he was from, but from a different country. And he is working, they all are working on a project, but he's also mainly working on the project to study bats. And that's the thing he wants to study. Now, in the movie, they're probably going to twist it around like bats can help him with his disease that he has, a sickness, disease that he has. But in this cartoon, he doesn't have a disease or whatever. He's not yet a doctor. He's starting to be a doctor, but he's not yet a doctor. But he doesn't have a disease either that almost about to cripple him. He's just a regular human being that stands up on his own. So basically, Peter Parker was trying to he's trying to get upper hand on Peter Parker, and Peter Parker's also trying to go out with Felicia, and then, you know, he doesn't have the chance to go out with him. I mean, he doesn't have a chance to go out with her. I mean, Michael Morbius does. So Michael Morbius ends up dating Felicia. Spider-Man, on the other hand, in this story, is going through some changes, a mutation. And the X-Men get involved in this episode. So does the Punisher at one point, and some other guest stars. But anyways, Spider-Man's going through a mutation to Morbius' story, and that's basically like the Savage Spider-Man, if you're reading that right now, where he's turned to a man spider. Besides the point, Morbius is going on a date with Felicia the whole time, still studying his bats, still studying his bats, working on his project. As Spider-Man is trying to fight crime, he's becoming more of a man spider. So he gets help from one of the doctors he trusts, and then again, he's getting hunted down. Well, he's trying to get help from the X-Men, and he's getting hunted down by Wolverine, all this other different side story stuff. And then eventually Punisher gets involved because, well, of course, Spider-Man becomes an actual man spider, and there goes. So that storyline from there. And then after we get a sub-storyline with that, he gets cured. So Peter Parker, so Spider-Man gets cured, and then he tries to help out, figure out what's wrong with Morbius. Now, this time Morbius actually became more and more obsessed about Peter Parker. So he finds a vial of Peter Parker's blood that the doctor that was helping him was studying his blood for this mutation, and she's helping him take this formula so he won't mutate. So Morbius takes that formula and puts it on, gets it in his own lab that he found or he made, and then of course bats, like the bats he's studying are vampire bats, so they like blood. So as he's getting that ready to go, a vampire bat comes and tries to drink the blood, and then he has a ray gun. The ray gun hits the blood, hits the bat. The bat ends up biting Morbius. He turns into the living vampire as we know today. As we know today from the movies, right? He turns into a living human half-breed vampire, but of course the human vampire. First he says, "No bat, get away." He's also has a foreign accent. "No bat, get away." And the bat ends up biting him the same way Peter Parker. His powers is the same way Morbius got his powers, except he wasn't bitten by a spider, he was bitten by a bat. And he starts noticing these changes. He started noticing that he has radar, Sona bat radar, he can fly, he has super strength, all this stuff. Then Peter Parker slash Spider-Man has to take him down. Eventually, a couple times when he's trying to take him down, Blade comes into the storyline. You get a backstory on Blade. He's a daywalker. He's half vampire, half human. He knows stop vampires. He gets involved because he's trying to hunt down Morbius. And Spider-Man teams up with him here and there to help hunt down Morbius. And then from there, Morbius is feasting on what he wants to be. He wants to do his projects. He wants to help create something brand new, like a disease for cancer, just a cure something. But he noticing that he's attacking people for no reason because he needs plasma. He needs plasma to survive, which is blood. He needs blood to survive. So he's attacking people. Spider-Man's trying to help him not attack people, also trying to team up with, trying to stop Blade from attacking him, but also at one point the only way to stop Blade from attacking him is to team up with him, and they team up. But Morbius is getting more stronger and stronger each time he attacks people, and then he's forgetting all about Felicia because they went on dates. Michael Morbius went on dates with Felicia. Felicia's missing Michael. Michael is missing Felicia, but Michael Morbius doesn't want Felicia have her see him like he is a vampire. So he's also trying to find a way to make himself normal again. And in the sunlight, it works. He stays up till all night until the sun comes up because he was getting chased down Spider-Man, and then he becomes a normal human being, the regular Michael Morbius. But then at night, when he was in the hospital, he escaped from the hospital and becomes a vampire. But he doesn't care about Felicia anymore. He only cares about getting plasma so he can stay normal, and he wants to be. He finally becomes who he wants to be. He wants to be the bat. He wants to be not a bat, he wants to be a vampire, but he finally becomes the vampire he wants to be. And he doesn't want Peter Parker to stop. He fought Peter Parker at this point. He doesn't want anything to do with Felicia or any of those people. He wants to be the vampire. So eventually Spider-Man and Morbius have their final last battle. And well, he gets in this cave and he finally turns into a bat and he sleeps and hibernates. Now that's the last time we see him in this episode. It's a three-part episode. You have guest stars of X-Men, Blade, Punisher, because the Punisher was trying to hunt down Spider-Man as a man spider, and then X-Men get involved because Spider-Man was a man spider throughout this whole thing, and then partly Craven the Hunter was involved because also Spider-Man became Man Spider, but also in between you get the Morbius story and Morbius. All he wanted to do after he get bitten by the vampire bat is try to figure out a way to cure himself, but after he realized he loves the strength, the power, the sonar, he can fly and all that stuff, he wanted to become who he really was, a human vampire. So yeah, and then you also get Blade in this. So this whole episode thing was great, but that's pretty much his origin in the cartoon, where he gets basically getting bitten by a vampire bat, by the vampire bat drinking Peter Parker's blood, and Peter Parker was responsible for Morbius becoming Morbius, obviously. I mean, the vampire Morbius. So that's how he gets origin. He gets bitten by a bat. The bat bites Michael Morbius, and he becomes the vampire that we all know. And love. So, yeah, origin from that cartoon. So if you like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. I'm gonna make another Morbius video of the origin of the comic book. I briefly know a little bit about that, but I might go back to the cartoon one and talk about my theories about the movie. And then there you go. And then I'll talk about the movie itself as a trailer. I mean, not trailer, I mean, that's a review. So, yeah. That's been the brief origin of the cartoon. Now, the Man Spider in this took a sideline. It was a sub-storyline, but it was a part of the Morbius. And if you want to read more about that, go pick up Savage Spider-Man. If you want to know more about that, watch the movie. I mean, not watch the movie, watch the cartoon of this. He turns into a big giant spider, and it takes part of away from Morbius, but basically, you still get Morbius. So there you go. Peace out.